Hi friends, welcome back. Let's talk about my 2023 most anticipated releases. Most of these are authors that I've read from before and really loved, but some of them are things that I just loved the blurb so completely that I had to tell you about them. I have around 20 books to talk to you about, so let's just get right into it. So the first one on my list is A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. I read two things from this author before, For Your Own Good and My Lovely Wife, and they are two of my favorite thrillers that I have ever read, so I definitely want to pick this up purely because I'll read anything that Samantha Downing writes. It sounds like our two characters end up banding together against a detective who is looking into something that they don't want to be uncovered. Then we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Riley Sager's books are so compulsively readable and I love to just speed through them on audiobook, so I think this is going to be a great one to pick up. It looks like it's a gothic thriller, which is very exciting. I love a old haunted house with a caretaker sort of vibe, and that's what's going on in here. We have a young woman who's taking care of someone who is accused of a massacre, and this situation has kind of turned into like a nursery school rhyme, which sounds very chilling and very interesting. This is the nursery rhyme from the blurb. At 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope, stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It wasn't me, Lenora said, but she's the only one not dead. Very spooky, very excited. On a lighter note, we have Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. I read the other two books in this series this year and loved them. Finley is a mother and single mom who ends up getting into a lot of different shenanigans, being hired as a hit woman, covering up murders. It's all a very good time. This one I think is going to be even better than the other two because it looks like Finley and Vera are going to be spending time in a police academy, like a citizens police training, and I love a training montage. I love a learning setting. Looks like they're going through firearm training and forensic classes, and of course the hot cop is there too. I'm excited. One of my favorite books of the year was Babel by R.F. Kuang. I also read The Poppy War this year, which was also one of my favorite books of the year. So it's no surprise that you're gonna find a book by R.F. Kuang on this list, which is Yellowface. I'm really excited about this one because it seems like a bit of a departure from R.F. Kuang. It's more of a contemporary type book. I love that R.F. Kuang just continues to do whatever she wants, and she's kind of jumping between genres and just doing whatever she finds the most interesting, and I am really excited to pick up Yellowface. Looks like we're following two characters, one who is very popular in the publishing industry and one who is unable to publish a book. They were friends, I believe they went to school together, and then the really popular published author passes away and her friend finds her unfinished manuscript and then proceeds to craft a new identity for herself that is ethnically ambiguous in order to steal her dead friend's story. The description also says that it is a darkly funny literary thriller, which I would not have expected R.F. Kuang to write, but I am very intrigued. I'll read anything that she writes. Next up is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. I loved The Hacienda this year, and I'm really excited to see what this author does in the future. I really loved the paranormal elements of The Hacienda, and I'm excited to see what she does with vampires. It looks like this is going to be my favorite type of horror, where we're really following characters and it's more of a character study than it is horror, but we have this undercurrent of darkness and this vampire monster situation hanging over the heads of our characters, which I'm very excited about. Looks like we're following a man and a woman who have some history together and maybe a romance will occur. I really enjoyed that element of The Hacienda, so I'm hoping to see that sort of a dynamic happen again in Vampires of El Norte. Next on this list is Mona Awad's next book. I read All's Well and Bunny this year and loved both of them. I really love Mona Awad's brand of unhinged book, and I'm really excited to see what she publishes next. I have absolutely zero clue what this book is going to be about. I'm unable to find any information about this other than the fact that it's coming out, I think, in September. So I will let you guys know when I find out more information about this, but I am very excited to pick it up. I love T. Kingfisher, and she's blessing us with not one, but two books in 2023. The first is A House with Good Bones, and this looks like it is going to be another horror novel. I love T. Kingfisher's horror. I do not understand how a person can be so dang talented, but whatever genre T. Kingfisher writes, I love. I have never given a book of hers, I think, less than 4 stars. I just love all of them. I read The Hollow Places this year by T. Kingfisher. One of the things I loved the most about The Hollow Places was the feeling of uncanny that unhome-like feeling where something that is supposed to be so comforting and homey becomes wrong, and that feeling is just one of my favorite things in horror. And I think this book is going to have that because we are following two siblings who are returning to their childhood home and something is not right. There are vultures circling. I am really excited to find out more about this. There's not a lot in this blurb, but it looks like there's a family secret and a truth that needs to be uncovered. And these siblings' mother is making some mystifying changes to the house. I think the uncanny is going to be present and I can't wait. Another haunted house story about siblings returning to a childhood home is Grady Hendrix' How to Sell a Haunted House. I love Grady Hendrix's horror. I'm currently reading his backlist, and a haunted house story is one of my favorite types of horror, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. I also think the concept of selling a haunted house is deeply funny, so I'm hoping that there'll be some humor in here as well. That's really all I know about this book. There's not much in terms of blurb that I have seen. Suffice to say, How to Sell a Haunted House, the title and the cover alone got me hooked. I'm in for anything that Grady Hendrix wants to do. This next one is not from an author that I've read from before, but it is really short, just 112 pages. It looks like our main character is using a neurological interface to communicate with the last known wolf. That's all I need to know. For 112 pages, I'm in for just that pitch. I've really been loving sci-fi lately, and I've always been intrigued by wolf stories. I mean, I have a dog who pretty much looks like a wolf anyways, so we will enjoy that one together. Won't we, buddy? Okay, switching gears, we have Emily Henry's new release, Happy Place. This one sounds really funny because we have a couple that has broken up, but they are trying to convince their friends that they're still together so that they don't ruin this friend trip, I believe, that they're on. It should be really interesting to uncover why they broke up, why they're trying to convince their friends they're still together, and I'm sure they're gonna fall back in love, so that'll be a fun journey to go on as well. Okay, next we have Silver Nitrate, and although I haven't read Silvia Moreno Garcia yet, I am really interested in her work, and I wasn't gonna pick this one up until I had read the book that I currently own, which is Mexican Gothic. The concept for this book was just too good to pass up. The way that I've heard people pitch this book sounds very similar to Archive 81 or whatever that Netflix limited series was. I don't know what it is, but horror that plays with recorded media is just really scary to me, and I'm excited to see what this one does. So the prompt for this is that we have a sound editor who's kind of been left out of the boys club of the current film industry in 90s Mexico City. Then we find out that her new neighbor is a cult horror director and has ties to a Nazi occultist situation that has to do with putting magic into silver nitrate stock, which just sounds like the right amount of weird sci-fi slash magic slash film sound being scary, which I'm definitely into. Looks like we've got a ghost. We have to break a curse by filming a deleted scene. Sounds right up my alley. Gotta change my battery, I'll be right back. Okay, back to talk about TJ Klune's new release, In the Lives of Puppets. I'm really interested in this one because it sounds like a mix of House in the Cerulean Sea and maybe the Monk and the Robot series, which I just read and absolutely loved. We're following a found family of robots made out of spare parts. Looks like we have an inventor android, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. And a surprise newcomer who has a past spent hunting humans. Chaos ensues, and I'm really excited to see what TJ Klune does next. I haven't read anything else by TJ Klune, but I did love House in the Cerulean Sea so much, so I'm excited to pick this one up because I've been really loving robot stories recently. Next, we have some climate fiction from an author that I haven't read before. This is Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling. I am very intrigued by this release. I just want to pick up more climate fiction. I think it's a really interesting genre. Our main character, who is spying on an architect in exchange for housing. There's a weird, wealthy, dark family legacy, and an elite group of women soldiers living at a climate research station that was built in Cold War era. Just the right little mix of elements that makes me think it's gonna be really good. Then we have some horror about a reality ghost hunting show, which sounds amazing. This is called episode 13, and apparently we are following episode 13 of this ghost hunting reality TV show. They are going to visit the Paranormal Research Foundation, which is a crumbling derelict mansion with lots of ghosties. As you know, I love a haunted house story. I love a TV film horror situation, so I'm really excited to see what this one is all about. I only have one nonfiction on this list. If you have any anticipated nonfiction for 2023, I would love to hear about it in the comments, because that's something that I think is a little bit more difficult for me to find. The nonfiction that I do have on my list is Spare by Prince Harry. I'm really interested to see what's going to go down here, especially with everything that happened with Meghan Markle and all of the craziness that has been going on in the royal family. Very interested to hear from Prince Harry himself what his memoir is going to be about, and I think the title is just perfect. Okay, the second book by T. Kingfisher that I'm really excited to read is Thornhedge. This looks like it's going to be a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but we're not following Sleeping Beauty. This is not the princess's story. This is the story of Toadling, who seems to be like a Maleficent type character. She was stolen by the fairies when she was young, and then when she grows up, she needs to bestow a blessing on a child who happens to be a princess. A night approaches, coming to break the curse. Toadling has other ideas. I'm excited to see what T. Kingfisher does with another fairy tale type story. I really enjoyed Nettle and Bone. The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking also had a very fairy tale like quality to it as well. So excited to see another short story from T. Kingfisher. This one's only 128 pages. Then we have Witch King by Martha Wells. This is the author of the Murderbot series, which I have not read, but I think this one sounds more up my alley. I'm still trying to get into science fiction. This one sounds more fantasy. It looks like we're following a demon and a mage. Here's a little bit of dialogue from the blurb. I didn't know you were a demon. You idiot. I'm the demon. Looks like this dynamic is going to be funny and dark, and I'm always up for that. Okay, this last one is Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton. And this one sounds so interesting because we are following a group of people who are guerrilla gardening. So they are secretively planting crops and things in public spaces in the middle of the night, which sounds like exactly the type of story that I would want to read if that was just the whole thing. But there's also a darker psychological thriller situation going on here because they find this town that has been cut off by a landslide, leaving a pretty sizable farm completely abandoned. Her group is ready to set up shop and farm this land when an eccentric billionaire buys it up and wants to use it for his end of days bunker. Looks like this billionaire and the guerrilla gardeners end up teaming up, and I'm interested to see what chaos ensues. There you have it. Those are all the books that I am anticipating being released in 2023. It's still really early for book announcements for 2023, so I'm sure there'll be other things that pop up on my radar. Like I said earlier, please let me know what your most anticipated books are for 2023 in the comments if you're interested in picking up any of these. Otherwise, I will see you next week. I post every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you want to stick around to watch me read all of these books, hopefully, in 2023, please subscribe. I think 2023 is going to be a good year of reading. It's only the 2nd of January, but I'm already feeling good vibes for 2023. I'm feeling good vibes. Happy reading. I'll see you next week. Bye.